So Charlie Bill here today to discuss what has been a brilliant season for the MK Dons women. What's your summary for this 2022-2023 campaign?
Yeah, I think it's almost been kind of perfection for what we wanted. The targets we set out as a group, we wanted to finish within that top six, and I think to finish fifth in the league, to back that up with the County Cup success has been phenomenal. Really, really pleased. I think it's from a lot of hard work from day one of pre-season last year when we come in. We got the recruitment right in the areas we needed, and then look, we always knew what the challenge was going to be to impact that top six because the growth of those clubs and some of the budgets that they have, and that's always tough. But I think we set the tone really early on in day one in the season, winning away at Crawley 6-1, and I think that just built confidence straight away, and we were able to follow that through the whole season. We had a lot of pressure the season before, and not only that, the cup runs of going away to Charlton in the Championship side and losing in the last minute to get knocked out to a full-time team, winning the County Cup. So be on it and all. It was a phenomenal season and one we could enjoy, and made a lot of memories along the way.
No, it's definitely been a successful season, as you touched on there. There's many moments of magical moments, but also heartbreaks as well. It's been a season full of ups and downs, but many successes within the club and within the team itself. County Cup, especially, bringing home that trophy to Stadium MK. How was that for you and all the team?
Yeah, in the build-up to it for us, a lot of it was around that. It is about making memories. You obviously have your league campaign, but I'd said to him beforehand, you'll always remember cup finals. You'll always remember those experiences, and you always want them to be positive ones. You never want to be on the losing side. And I think, the way that we executed it, there was a lot of nerves in that group, but I think it was a lot of the group's first cup final. So to be able to do that, obviously with COVID, there was a little bit of a pause with that competition and being able to get our hands on that. So we played a good Reading side in the semi-finals who won it the previous year. So again, it just kind of topped off what a good season it was to have a bit of silverware to back it up, bring that home here, and then, like I said, enjoy that as well.
As you mentioned earlier, there was players in and out throughout the season. There was quite a big overhaul from last season's team to now this season's team. How did you find managing all that and basically managing a whole different group of players and getting them familiar with the environment, with the stadium, with playing in front of what has been a highest attendance sort of average crowd for us as well, which is another phenomenal achievement for yourselves?
Yeah, I think it's about a lot of what we do is culture driven and value driven, especially in the women's game when you can lose players very quickly just because of the nature of the transition of that, and the way that clubs can kind of just start having conversation with players after kind of the season ends. So there's less security from us kind of retaining those players. So we know we have to build the culture, because if you build the culture in the group, and that word's used a lot, but I believe we've got that massively here because players trust with what we do. They see not just, as I say, on field, they're playing at the stadium, they've got fantastic training facilities, they've got a really hard working group of staff, and I think we kept the good in the group and those that we felt that were going to drive that forward. And then any player that then come and saw our environment, they knew straight away what the expectations were, everything off the pitch and on the pitch. And I think you look at some of those players that will be brought in, Laura Mitchell, who's having a phenomenal season, and Nicola at fullback, obviously retaining Gem and Luce from the previous season. We've had some really key players involved in terms of that, and I think that's what we got right to add to your likes of, let's say, Molly Cooper, who had a fantastic season, Chloe won Player of the Year. Obviously, they are players that have been here, but they've been able to kick on with that quality that we've added to the group.
As you touched on there with a few of the players, they're bringing up some amazing accolades. Molly Cooper, joint top goal scorer in the league, and the women's team joining the first team for the awards night, and Chloe Sampson winning the Women's Player of the Year. You obviously had Molly Cooper getting top goal scorer of the year, Angelina Nixon winning goal of the year, and Hannah Samuels winning Players Player of the Year. I mean, all these accolades and all these awards are a testament to not only yourself and the team, but all the backroom staff as well.
Oh, massively, and I think like occasions like Wednesday and obviously what's been going on with the first team, it's tough, but I think what we've seen is a real club connection, and we've been supporting them through every step of the way, and they've been the same thing for us. And I think nights like the awards night they appreciate what we've done here, and the club appreciate that, but they appreciate being involved in it. And I think it's another step in the right direction because, like I said, a lot of fans were able to see that. You've already touched on kind of the highest average attendance, and we've seen that obviously consistently here. And look, it's credit to what they've done, credit to what the group are doing, because you hear them speak in front of the first team staff, the first team players, the supporters, the sponsors, and the way that they speak, they feel a real connection with this club. And I know not everyone in the women's game have that connection with their the kind of men's side or that club, and they don't have that one club feel. So a lot of what we're doing now in the off season is keeping that connection, keep that growing, and I believe we will, and I believe we're only going to get better and stronger next season. And like I said, your likes of those players who won those awards, Han, Ange, Coops and Chloe, I think they're just going to kick on again next season and want more, and I think that's how driven this team is.
As we mentioned earlier, the league position, the highest the team's ever had, 5th in the FAWNL National League, 3rd tier of women's football, and you can see how much this team is progressing as well as the game itself. Obviously, we've had the Women's Euros at Stadium MK, we're having a plethora of women's matches at Stadium MK for their team. I guess what I'm trying to ask is, how proud of you, of yourself and all your team and all the players that have reached, last season, the bottom of the table, to now the levels they're reaching this season?
Yeah, so proud of the group, and I think a lot of us have been involved for the last 4 or 5 years, and it has been a journey, and I keep saying, and we had player meetings all this week, and a lot about it is this isn't the end of the journey. This is, again, this is still believing that we're close to the start of that, of going, look, we can go higher, and we know what that entails, and we're going to do some hard work around that. But I think, like I said, when you take a bit of time to step back, and when the season finishes, and when that's finished, you almost then look on the form, the league table, and you are so proud of the staff and the group of what we've done here, because it has been kind of an enormous achievement. You look at the table last season to this season, we're the side that have had the best return in terms of growth in positionings. Your likes of your top 4 were all in and around it last season. We weren't, and we made that step up. So again, it's for us to now work hard and go keep going and keep wanting to get stronger and stronger, and now close that gap on the top 4. And we have that motivation. We never stand still. It's already thoughts to go into next season, pre-season scheduling and all that. It doesn't stop. Unfortunately, you have those memories, and that's why those cup finals and winners medals and stuff like that, that's what you keep. And now it's about, football works in a cycle that it's stopped now this season, and it's starting again for the next one.
I can already see your ambition for the next season, and the team must feed off that energy. Just lastly, from myself, yourself, obviously all the backroom staff that many people may not even know or realise, that put in so many hours and so much of their time into this team, and on a voluntary basis as well. From a media point of view, you've got the commentary, you've got photographers, you've got so much going on now around this team, really helping to build it and get it to obviously where you want it to be.
Yeah, and like you said, the credit to what they do, because they put in long hard hours for this club and for the women's side, and ultimately it comes down to wanting to grow that. And I think because we've got such a family feel, any volunteer, any person that comes in within this, it's not a case of, okay, this is your role, and we're not communicating. We travel down to games together, we have a connection together, and I think that's the biggest thing. It's a real family feel around the club, no matter who comes into that, whether it's a player playing on the pitch, whether it's a staff member on the coaching staff, whether it's the medical staff, whether it's, like you said, it's the media staff, the Chris who are doing the commentary and photography. I think all of them feel part of it, and I think that's when you keep building that, you then believe that you're going to keep the good in the group for long spells. If it's just a case that you don't have that and you have one good year, you might fear kind of a lot of transition and movement within the group. I don't fear that this season. I think we're going to keep the good in it, and now it's about just adding that little bit more quality to then kick on. But yeah, so proud of my staff and players and how they've worked all season, because I couldn't do it without them, and I know I'm kind of the face of it, but look, I do it for them, and I do it for everything that we want to do, and ultimately for the badge of MK, and making sure that we keep growing the club and keep supporting and make sure we can continue to do that next season.
And obviously the season for the women's team has been brilliant, but it's also been filled with its bit of woes as well, with Laura Bright retiring after serving so many seasons under the club. But even though she's retired, she can't quite stay away, can she? She's been with you on the sidelines helping out the team throughout this season. Yeah,
and that's another important transition that we've got to support with, in terms of female footballers, and in terms of if retirement happens, obviously there isn't that. Sometimes you see the male go into punditry or to media, and they might get full-time roles within that. At the moment, the women's game's still growing, but then potential opportunities aren't there as quick. So I think a player like LB, she's been so good of what we've done, and she's been part of the last 4 or 5 years. I've got such a good relationship with her, and she's one that's going to come in and support with that coaching staff and support what we do, because look, her eyes from a different viewpoint, and being able to to have those discussions with players kind of in the changing room, kind of within the back four unit. She prides herself when she was out there. She was a warrior. She wants to keep clean sheets, and we've got a young back four now that she's going to keep trying to educate, to work with, to show that same mentality. So look, I'm so pleased for her, because she probably would have had an element of worry when she got told the sad news that she won't be able to play again. She might have thought that was all doors closed. But again, when we have that family feel as a club, and we want to get everyone involved, and that as I say, starts with our captain, who's put so many hours into it. She stays a big part of it, and knows she'll be supporting with everything we're doing off the pitch to make sure we're in the best position come first game of the season.
I realised I said my final question a few questions ago, but a couple more popped into my head, so I promise this will be my last one. But just to touch on yourself as a head coach, you've now this season managed over 100 games in charge of the women's team. I mean, it's a brilliant accolade, and you must be proud of yourself and what you've achieved this season and over the past seasons that you've managed MK Dons women. Yeah,
like I said, I think when you have accolades like that, you take a bit of time to reflect on the journey and where we were from the day one when I walked in, and that started as assistant manager first, then coming in as the manager. I think you reflect on that journey and what a journey it's been, and whoever I speak to, whether it's in the club, outside the club, a lot of things I always say is, look, I do this for the club. The accolades are lovely and nice, but I think you only get them if you show real care of what you're doing. If you go into environments and you're doing it for yourself, I think players, staff will very quickly see that. And again, my vision's always been here to keep growing this and keep driving this forward. As tough as last season was, and we managed to get ourselves out of that fight, it was because I believe that this group are good enough to play at this level, if not higher, and keep pushing on to do that. So I think this season has shown that, and yeah, we'll take a few weeks to try and recharge my batteries, have a bit of time, reflect, and regroup on the good memories, and like we said, be out there in the sun again in pre-season, ready to go.